everyone, from wherever you're tuned in around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are watching the Vuyo Show right here on VN, where I have conversations with some very, very inspiring people sharing their journey and their story with you. On the show today, I'm joined by a gorgeous queen sitting in royalty right next to me. Her name is Siyakunakekela. But let me show you what to expect on this episode with Usta. Check this out. You have put out in the universe, on the social media streets, that your passion is building purposeful and distinctive brands.
I'm a communication strategist by profession, and so I think being that professionally, I'm able to feed that into the girl in the middle. The girl in the middle really looks at what, first of all, it looks at the core of us and the inner child that we've neglected. I think just going back to my social media, you know, there's a mixture of different conversations, and they bumped into a conversation I was having around gender-based violence. And so they picked up on that, and they were like, you know, we really, at the time, they wanted to figure out how to stretch the gender-based violence conversation, because at its core, Siyakunakekela has a self-defense program that cascades nationally.
All right, ladies and gents, she is the girl in the middle, also the brand ambassador for the Siyakunakekela Foundation. She joins me in studio today looking regal. I love that orange.
Thank you.
It's bright. It gives me girl in the middle vibes.
It happened by mistake, so I'm so happy that you like it. And this is really just an excuse to be lazy. But I'm glad it goes with the dress. How are you, Vuyo?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for allowing me to join you on your show, your new show, 4th episode. I feel so privileged to be here talking to you.
Amazing. Now, you have put out in the universe, on the social media streets, that your passion is building purposeful and distinctive brands by identifying strategic growth opportunities that drive market performance with a key focus on integrated execution. And that's what you're doing with the girl in the middle. Chat to us about how that came about.
Wow, you know, it's so interesting to hear about yourself. Anyway,
I know, eh?
You sound so professional. Anyway, thank you, Vuyo. I think the girl in the middle, let's just premise what the girl in the middle is. The girl in the middle is who I am fundamentally, but how it kind of manifests is in lifestyle content. So the girl in the middle really looks at what, first of all, it looks at the core of us and the inner child that we've neglected. Because I remember when I was 11, I used to do everything fearlessly. I'd be in the pool fearlessly, doing runs at school fearlessly, not worrying about who thinks what about me. Then in the adolescent years, that started dwindling, because now I have outside influences and I'm losing the girl in the middle. So really it is about being in my 30s and always going back to who the girl in the middle is, the girl of the core, the girl in the middle of career, the girl in the middle of bad sex, the girl in the middle of great relationships, whatever it is. So that's the premise of the girl in the middle. And then I think just what you touched on the strategy side and making sure that brands come together, that is me on the professional side, because I'm a communication strategist by profession. And so I think being that professionally, I'm able to feed that into the girl in the middle, which is basically my purpose.
Yeah, and I mean, when you talk about the social media side of things, you're an influencer yourself. I absolutely love your content, by the way.
Am I? Yo, that's so nice. It's a weird thing to hear, but I'll take it.
Yes, I think, you know, the way in which you beautifully are able to tell a story, I get to understand and gain understanding of who you are as the girl in the middle through your social media. How do you incorporate your social media into your life?
It is my life. I actually was having an offline conversation with your team, your wonderful team here.
Yeah.
And I was just saying that, you know, if you're going to go to my Instagram, you will get me. There'll be a pretty dress. There'll be some makeup here and there. There'll be some good hair, honey. Some good hair.
Yes.
But fundamentally, there'll also be the conversations that I love. There'll be gender-based violence campaigns. There'll be bullying campaigns that are like for my YouTube right now. I'm busy with a 4-part bullying series where I'm going to break down bullying from a cyberbullying perspective right down to where it starts. So it really is who I am. I also want to use my platforms so that people see that days are not the same. Like, I'm not always going to be in a pretty dress. Like, sometimes I'm frustrated at the state of the world, and sometimes I just am in a tracksuit. So I really created in such a way that all of those pillars of who I am can live without the pressure of aesthetics.
Yes, but your aesthetics are fabulous.
I'll take that.
I absolutely love your aesthetics.
Oh my word, I'm a Libra, so I love things that look good. Aesthetics are very important to me, but the core core is also equally.
Which I'm going to tie beautifully in now with one of the reasons why we just had to have you on the show, which is the amazing work that you do with the Siyakunakekela Foundation, helping fight period poverty amongst many other things that this organization gets to do. How did you find out what happened? Where did you meet with the foundation? Share that journey with us.
So I think just going back to my social media, there's a mixture of different conversations, and they bumped into a conversation I was having around gender-based violence.
Yes.
I'm also, Twitter, you could be a little bit more rah-rah, a little bit more punchy, and I am when it comes to certain conversations, or I was when I was more active on Twitter. And so they picked up on that, and they were like, we really, at the time, they wanted to figure out how to stretch the gender-based violence conversation, because at its core, Siyakunakekela has a self-defense program that cascades nationally, that helps girls in rural areas to really take ownership of their instinctive feeling around who's behind them, their body, how to react. And so they really wanted to see, well, what else can we do under gender-based violence, because it is applied in South Africa. And so we met because they wanted to do a social media campaign where they would give me the carte blanche, really, to put a series of videos out that break down really key components of the conversation. So it could be the fact that we need to talk with men because it's a man's issue, so we essentially can't ignore them, and then also just how to identify nuances in the workspace, etc. So that's how it came about. Just that synergy of me rah-rahing about South Africa and them really needing somebody who's going to be able to carry the message.
Yes, the voice that would encompass what it's all about. If someone was to ask you, how do you even explain what the foundation is, right? We know the name Siyakunakekela, which means we're taking care of you. But for you, how would you go about explaining what this foundation is?
I think it really, at its core, that's what it encompasses. Like you said, Siyakunakekela really means that we take care of you. And the three things that we mainly take care of, it's just anything tangible that we can make a change or affect within South Africa. And that is around health, around education, and around human outreach, or humanitarian outreach, excuse me. And the way that we do that tangibly is through three different pillars. So like you mentioned, we've got female hygiene, where we focus on female hygiene products that go into clinics and rural areas, because, for me and you, thank God, we go to the store, we pick the pads up, we don't think twice about it. There are some people who are needing to decide between bread and pads in households that have got 4 kids in them. So those are the situations we don't think about, where Siyakunakekela is able to take care. And then the second pillar is a pit toilet pillar, where basically the consideration is health and safety around pit toilets. I always think about my grandma, I think about pit toilets, because she had one and I was so scared to always go to it because of the situation, but she was always, always used to take me there. And it really is restoring the dignity around the fact that this is what you have, but there is a solution that Siyakunakekela was able to come up with, that you pour into the pit toilet to reduce odor, which helps reduce bacterial infections, etc. So really restoring the dignity of our communities. And then lastly, period pain poverty, like you mentioned. Sorry, no, not period pain poverty, gender-based violence, like we mentioned briefly, which is really the self-defense, as well as cascading a very positive message to South African women.
Yeah, why are such organizations important and necessary for society? South Africa has so many different, struggles that it has. But for you as a star, what would you say is the importance of us rallying behind these organizations and them even existing?
It's important because I think that the focus is nuanced, right? There's a lot of amazing foundations doing incredible work, and I really shout them out. This is nowhere in the comparison. However, what Siyakunakekela is able to do is take the nuances of our everyday and look at the things that people are not thinking about. You know what I mean? You walk past a pit toilet and you don't think there might be a solution for you to A, restore your dignity, like I said, but 2, just be able to walk past and just have a normal walk and not risk a bacterial infection or things like that. It really goes beyond, just the pit toilet. So I think it's really in the nuance, in understanding that, okay, how do we want to help women tangibly? We want to help them with the thing that happens monthly that they cannot control. It is an adult issue that there are not enough pads around, and so it is something that we need to sort out. So I think what Siyakunakekela does is really the nuanced approach at looking at what is the humanitarian issue here and how do we tangibly fix it, even if it's in the smallest simplest way. How do we do that?
Yes.
And that's what drew me to them.
Amazing. And you're the brand ambassador for this incredible foundation. What is your role in being a brand ambassador?
So I'd be remiss to say that, I'm the pinnacle of, or the spokesperson. There's a huge team behind it, led by a really formidable project manager. Her name is Bianca Olifir,
Yes.
and she does an amazing job at doing the work on the ground. Me as a brand ambassador, it's really to firstly support that work, be there when we're dropping off pads, talking to girls about their issues, etc. Be there where there is, last year there was a strike for period pains, and it was Bianca's team that was able to figure out how to get involved, put up posts, and create the things that we needed
Yes.
in order to be involved. So it's a joint effort with a vigorous team at Siyakunakekela that is doing the ground on the work, doing the work on the ground. And for me, I come in to speak to it, to affirm it, and to also show people the nuggets of opportunity for you to be involved, for you to make a difference, and more importantly, how easy it is to do so.
And let's get into that.
Sure.
How does one get to support this movement, this foundation, and really this work of impact?
Yeah.
As I would like to describe it.
That's a really beautiful way to describe it. It is impactful, and I think the most important thing to remember is that you don't have to spend a lot to be impactful. I want to start with the fact that Siyakunakekela gives you a chance to really start donating from 25 Rand, because we really want to think about everybody. When you're working with foundations, it's not really about can I afford this or that, more than it is about thinking about community. How am I contributing to the community? And in my little capacity, if I have 25 Rand, where would it go?
Yeah.
So firstly, you can go to siyakunakekela.africa, and there you will see how you can submit that 25 Rand or up. The second way is if you check on our Instagram, we have a page called Siya's Angels. You're able to see the different ways we do the work. So you can even DM there, send an email, and just inquire about how to further, what you want to do. But really, get a hold of us on our website, get a hold of us on Instagram, and our consultants will be able to talk you through the different ways. But just, I really want to highlight the fact that it starts at 25 Rand, which really puts the majority of us in the conversation.
Yeah, and those conversations, I think, even what we are having now is a conversation starter. Going forward, what are you hoping to continue to do within this work, this organization, as Usta, in this impact work? What are some of the things that you'd like to start seeing more of?
I think, when you're doing this type of work, I think you just really hope that it carries on, because the key is consistency. You don't want to supply people with pads and things like that and then stop, because you need them forever, essentially. So I think just really helping the foundation to create a consistency, to also expand who is considering themselves as people who are able to, contribute.
Yes.
A lot of the times we go to big corporates, we're begging and saying, hey, also I want to point out that we are supported strictly by sponsors. So you go to the big corporates, but what we really want you to understand is that it's you and me. If you and me, can you imagine if all the women in South Africa decided 25 Rand a month, or all the women who are working in South Africa decided on 25 Rand a month?
Imagine.
That is the difference that we're trying to highlight. That is the difference that will eventually cause us to have that consistency.
Yes.
And that is the dream for me, for Siyakunakekela, but also for the right of resourcing that we deserve, and the consistency of resourcing that we deserve for our dignity.
Yeah, for our dignity. Stan, before we kind of sum this and wrap this up, I want to know why you're doing this work. Why? What is your why into rallying behind such a movement, into saying yes to helping these young girls across the country? What is your why?
It's my purpose. I'm the girl in the middle, and my purpose is to think about the girls in the middle, what they're going through, what they're celebrating, what their hardships are, and to attend to that. And so from my own personal capacity, without a foundation, I can have a conversation, I can nurture my own communities, but with the foundation being with Siyakunakekela, I'm able to expand that. I'm able to scale that purpose. So that truly is it.
Yeah, which is why you at home as well can get behind this work, can get behind this impact by joining in, support. It starts as little as 25 Rand, which is how you can go about and donate to the foundation. Little girls get to follow you on social media. They love what you do. They're watching the show right now. What words of inspiration do you leave with them before we say goodbye?
Hey, little girls. Hey, girls in the middle. First of all, I love you. Second of all, the one thing I want to say is actually, I'll say the quote that has actually just been stinging and stinging and stinging in my mind. And that is that the universe is answering to who you believe you are. It is a lesson that I've had to learn. Trauma, triggers, failures can set you back, make you forget who you are, what you're capable of. You need to remember fundamentally at the core, no matter the situation you're in, you need to remember self. And then once you remember self and you've acknowledged self from your traumas, from the things that help you, that make you react, whether positively or negatively, once you've understood yourself, you will be able to ask of the universe what it is you deserve. But without that self-confidence, it becomes really hard to penetrate what the universe has prepared for you.
Yeah.
So always know that the universe is watching and they're responding to what you think you are.
Yes, and you, star, are a star shining so bright, giving impact, light, and hope to so many. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you so much to the Siyakunakekela Foundation, who has, of course, introduced us to you and this lovely and inspirational person that you are. Ladies and gents, as we had said earlier on, to donate, it's very simple. Visit siyakunakekela.africa and go on the social media pages. Siyakunakekela.
Siya's Angels?
Siya's Angels.
Absolutely.
And support the work. It's as simple as it can get, and it starts from as little as 25 Rand. We are rallying behind this foundation. We are rallying behind this movement as the Vuyo Show. So you as well at home, go about and do the right thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Vuyo Show. I am Vuyo, and this is Usta Kulu. Ladies and gents, from me and Usta, it is goodbye. See you next time. Cheers.